What's going on, guys? It's Daniel from CoinSpots here. And man, today we got a few things to talk about. Um, so, Bitcoin futures. That was interesting. Apart from that, we're going to be taking a look at Monero, Stellar, and Litecoin. Litecoin has been mooning this past day, actually. And then we're going to get into a couple pieces of news regarding cryptocurrency as payments. So yeah, but man, Litecoin. We'll get to Litecoin at the end of the video, but I'm super stoked on Litecoin. It has gone through the roof, like 200 some percent. All right, let's focus back on Bitcoin here. So overall, Bitcoin futures were pretty bullish. It wasn't the whole, FUD, end of Bitcoin as quite a few people were expecting, especially with institutional money. Um, Even though not that much money actually came in to Bitcoin futures. So what I mean by that is, if we refresh the page, these are basically the three different types of futures contracts the CBOE offers, the F8, G8, and H8. And on Sunday, that was the 10th, yes. This was about, I think, anywhere between the 2,900-ish to 3,100-ish level. And pretty much this number here just represents the number of contracts taken out. I think this number is on a daily basis. Um, so the first day we had about 3,000 or so contracts taken out for the January 17th expiration date. So that pretty much shows everyone is going or opting for the contract that terminates the earliest, right? Because still, in many people's eyes, Bitcoin is pretty uncertain, pretty unstable. So um, betting on Bitcoin or going along on Bitcoin, they're going to want to, or they're inclined to uh, choose the contract that terminates first. But overall, even though it was bullish, there wasn't a huge amount of volume, and that's just because the CBOE is primarily an options exchange, I believe. They were the first to do futures, but the CME group is the one that is really going to be, or is really going to be making headlines, I should say. So we have to kind of just wait around until then to see, what the real sentiment is. Um, right now, Bitcoin futures are actually trading a little bit higher than Bitcoin. And obviously, because even though this is pegged to Bitcoin's price, it doesn't follow it 100% exactly. You can see Bitcoin trading at about roughly $100 less. And even if we look at the technicals, right here in this area was where futures launched, and as we could see, it was pretty uncertain here. A couple green, couple red candles, not too much price movement, and then bam, we had a quick drop and then a run up. So overall, Bitcoin futures are bullish, at least for now. We'll see what happens when the CME comes out, but an interesting thing to note about these futures contracts is that in a way that they're basically a self-fulfilling prophecy with the whole concept of reflexivity. We discussed that on a much earlier video, but definitely worth to check out or at least look into. Google it and read a couple articles on it, because I think in markets, especially the cryptocurrency market, the whole concept of reflexivity is extremely important, and it really does affect the markets, because if Bitcoin futures contracts are longing Bitcoin, right? So say like this January 17th price. the contract is that Bitcoin is going to be 20,000, let's say, by January 17th. And everybody sees that a ton of people are buying up those Bitcoin contracts, longing Bitcoin, saying, hey, it's going to go to 20,000 January 17th. So pretty much people are going to buy up Bitcoin until it reaches that price. And obviously, the opposite could happen as well. So futures markets in Bitcoin, as well as in other commodities, really drive the sentiment one way or the other. And it's honestly really going to be interesting to see where this goes. The CBOE was a little taste of futures on a much smaller scale than what we're going to see 6 days from now on December 18th with the CME futures. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. It's anyone's guess, really. Could be bullish, could be bearish, who knows? But only time will tell how these futures contracts will affect the sentiment for Bitcoin. So yeah, moving on to Monero. Actually, we'll get to Litecoin at the end of the video. But Manero, I got in on a little trade on Manero, actually. A really nice little trade here. Support zone right here on this green box. We've got 1, 2, maybe 3 points of contact if you consider this area a point of contact. I was taking a look at it, right here around these red candles, and I was thinking it was just going to bounce up, and that's pretty much what it did. Obviously, we didn't touch the support level, but basically, I guess a little trading tip is don't always, or not always, don't put all of your money that you're gonna put into the trade at a certain Satoshi level, because if you're saying, hey, I'm gonna put all of the money that I've got to trade with Monero, I'm gonna make an order at 1.5 million Satoshi, right? But as you see, this didn't touch the support box that it did on right here and right here. So that's why it's important to kind of layer your bids. And just getting a quick drink of water there. It's important to layer your bids so you have different entry opportunities. So obviously your highest bid in terms of Satoshi price. So if you were here, you were saying 1.5 million, etc., whatever. That'd be your first bid, and then your bid below it would be more money than your first bid, right? And the bid below that one would be more than the bid, your second bid and your first bid. So you keep layering them down, adding more money each time. And that's pretty much how I set up this trade. And I think I had like 2 of my bids taken, just simply because, as I said, it didn't touch this support box at all. And so far we're doing pretty good on the trade. We're up, roughly. Oh no, where are we now? 8%, 9% on the trade. And then I kind of just drew out these resistance levels that we'll have here. So this one right here at like 1.8 million Satoshi right here. So this level here, because we have 2 points of contact right here. This is going to be a pretty big level here at 1.9 or almost 2 million Satoshi. And then obviously all the way up here at this high at around 2.2 million Satoshi. So when kind of executing a trade, I like to have this format here. This is kind of my staple when I'm looking at the technicals for a trade, right? I'm looking for the coin to touch a support line and then bounce off of the support line, and that's where I'm going to be layering my bids. Obviously, I'm going to have a stop loss on those bids just in case my predictions go south. But then also I have price targets. So obviously this fib retracement, the levels on the fib retracement don't line up exactly with these resistance levels here, right? This is actually they don't at all. um, so that just goes to show that you can't like just rely on one tool. So the fib retracement isn't always going to be correct. Um, these resistance levels I just picked out because of the peaks that it had here, and they pretty much bounced off of the same, in this case here, trend line. And then here, this is obviously just because it's a high, and then here it bounced off of this line. And let's see what happens here if this tests that resistance again, and if it breaks through or it bounces down. If now, for example, here, if Monero hits that resistance and it doesn't break through it, then I'd probably exit my trade there. So yeah, that's just a little trading tip for you guys, kind of how I set things up and kind of my logic behind it. I don't do too much trading. You know, trading always like in people's minds, it's like someone's staring at like 50 different charts and like executing trades every 5 minutes. That's not what I do at all. You know, I probably make a handful of trades a week, I'd say. But yeah, moving on to Stellar Lumens. So Stellar, if we go to bring it down to the hour chart, Stellar had a nice run up, and now we are kind of consolidating here. Now, the reason I bring up Stellar is not so much for the technicals, but some fundamental news that happened. So Stellar is having quite a few meetups, and over the past few weeks, I'd say Stellar has been blowing up. Right, we had this huge run up here, and then obviously we corrected, and now we're consolidating. But Stellar's been having a ton of meetups all over the world. As you can see, San Francisco, South Korea, Dubai, Hong Kong, London. Um, so they're definitely trying to get their name out there. And in addition to that, right, we have Stellar launches or Satoshi Pay rather launches integration with Stellar. Um, so that's really awesome news. And this article, as well as the other ones here, are going to be talked about a little bit at the end, relating to another topic. But this is definitely very bullish news on Stellar. Meetups and Satoshi Pay integration, a lot of big things. Stellar's doing a lot of big things out here. I'm already currently in Stellar. I'm definitely in it for the long run. But if you're not in it yet, I think right now would be a good time to look to see if you can get in. Right, it's pretty good price right now. So yeah, Litecoin. We got to take a look at Litecoin. This chart, this is beautiful. This is what you want to see in a chart. Look at this massive amount of volume on the breakout. This is what you want to see. Litecoin, 200+% gains. This is pretty crazy. So why the heck did this happen? A few reasons, I think. Litecoin has been, in my mind, undervalued for a really long time. And I say it's undervalued because it has, if we go on CoinMarketCap, right, its max supply is about 4 times that of Bitcoin. But its price is nowhere near 1/4 of the Bitcoin price. Now, obviously, that's not it, but or that's not the whole picture, I should say. Litecoin has been starting a massive marketing campaign right now, and I think that's super important, because it kind of coincides with Bitcoin becoming more mainstream, right? Futures markets out now for Bitcoin. The news is talking about Bitcoin, right? Every time I sit down for dinner and I have the news on, I'm hearing Bitcoin quite often, right? Not daily, but definitely a lot more than a couple months ago. So Bitcoin is definitely um, becoming more mainstream in people's eyes, and with the execution of the marketing campaign, right, by Charlie Lee, at the same time is definitely contributing to this rise in price, right? In addition to it being undervalued in my mind, I think that people are seeing the value of Litecoin as an alternative for Bitcoin. And what I mean by that is Litecoin has been around pretty much since Bitcoin has been around, right? It came out maybe a couple years after Bitcoin, so it's still one of the earliest cryptocurrencies out there. And I think Charlie Lee is trying to make it that Litecoin is going to be the next Bitcoin. Basically saying that, hey, look at Bitcoin's price at 16, 17,000. All of you guys missed that run up. But Litecoin's going to have the same run up that Bitcoin had, right? In fact, we're better than Bitcoin. Now, that's not bashing Bitcoin. As we've discussed in previous videos, people's perception of Bitcoin is different now, as it's a store of value instead of a means of transaction. And that's where Litecoin shines, as a means of transaction. With atomic swaps being implemented, Lightning Network, low fees, huge fast transaction times, Litecoin is definitely very attractive in terms of the payment solution sense as an actual cryptocurrency. And I think that is definitely going for Litecoin right now, in favor of Litecoin. So all of that combined, I think, is definitely contributing to this run up in price for Litecoin. Right, we're already at $360, which is crazy, right? Just thinking that like a week or two ago, Litecoin was at 100 or some dollars. Um, and I think another thing going for Litecoin is that it's the cheapest option on Coinbase, right? Coinbase, as everyone knows, is kind of the noob friendly, beginner friendly website when it comes to getting into cryptocurrency, right? Because you don't need to deal with order books and charts and stuff as on a regular exchange, right? So Litecoin being the cheapest option on Coinbase is definitely very attractive to people because when buying anything, price is probably the most important factor, right? People see something that's $17,000 and something that's $350. Obviously, we're going to have some kind of correction soon, but so whatever, $200, $150, right? They're going to probably opt to buy that than Bitcoin, right? And if Charlie Lee is painting it like, hey, Litecoin is going to have the same run as Bitcoin, you guys missed all that, get on board the spaceship, right? I think that that's definitely going to be a very big booster for Litecoin. Now, apart from that, we've got a couple articles here about cryptocurrency being used as actual payments. So this one is just Monero being used or being accepted by a couple artists to sell their albums. We talked about briefly, right, Satoshi Pay integrating with Stellar. And then this other piece of news, this precious metals dealer is now accepting Bitcoin. So as you can see, a ton of different companies are kind of stepping in and integrating Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, but cryptocurrency payments. Um, they're accepting cryptocurrency payments, and I think as we step into 2017, this is going to be very important because how well these people integrate um, the payment options for cryptocurrency is going to determine how successful the coin is, right? Because for something like Monero, something like Litecoin, and even to an extent Bitcoin, um, they're all trying to achieve the same thing, right? A digital currency. Now, obviously, Bitcoin is up for debate, but excuse me, um, how well these companies integrate something like this is going to dictate how well the coin does, right? Because if it's an actual currency, people need to use it, and if sites and different groups can continuously integrate a certain coin, and public reception is really good, that's going to help the coin grow a lot, right? So Litecoin, for example, I think we're definitely going to see a lot of that in 2018 with that execution of the marketing campaign by Charlie Lee. I think a lot of companies are going to, be looking at Litecoin and saying, hey, we're going to accept this as a payment, or maybe even companies that already accept Bitcoin are going to switch over to Litecoin. Because at the end of the day, no one can really argue that, Bitcoin is, from a currency standpoint, from a cryptocurrency standpoint, is better than Litecoin, right? Litecoin is faster, Litecoin is cheaper. And that's why I always mention the public perception of Bitcoin. It's going to be a store of value that is not going to have that many transactions done because people are just going to be holding it because of that finite supply. Litecoin, while it does still have a finite supply, is roughly 4 times that of Bitcoin, and that's the one that's going to be used as a means of transaction. Um, so definitely, companies integrating cryptocurrency payments is something we're going to see coming into 2018 and pretty much throughout 2018. 2018 is going to be a big year for cryptocurrency, and it's going to bring in a lot of institutional money and a lot of adoption. A lot of companies and websites are probably going to start accepting cryptocurrency, and depending on how people view that, how many people use that form of a payment, will dictate whether any of these actual currencies, right? Bitcoin Cash, even Litecoin, Dash, Monero, how successful they're going to be, right? And I think this 3 and 4 spot, Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin, they're trying to do the same thing, and I think Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin are definitely gonna be in a battle um, for who can offer that service the best, right? Um, I personally think Litecoin's gonna win, but Bitcoin Cash versus Litecoin is definitely something you're gonna want to keep your eyes on in the future. So yeah, that's a wrap pretty much. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Going to continue trying to pump these out on the daily. And yeah, if you like the video, please drop a thumbs up, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.